All right. Welcome, Mushin Warriors, to another episode of Mushin Mental Academy, where our purpose is to provide you the tools for engagement and presence. Today's episode is centered on focus and why it's very helpful and useful. So let's jump right in. The very first thing that I'm going to start with is how to realize or how to notice if we're in a state where we're not completely focused on maybe what we could be or on what our let's say our self really wants, about being able to really know what we truly want. And the easy way to do this is to know if we're in a state of stress. If we feel like we're always on the clock for something, it's like, okay, I've got enough time to wake up and then go do this and then go do that thing. And everything seems like it's just more of a structure and more of something that's like something we have to do rather than something that's providing us all of the steps and the tools to achieve what it is that we want. And the way to refocus is to step back and figure out what it is that we're doing and really choose one thing at a time and make a commitment to it. By doing that, it's going to allow us to really laser focus on it, and everything else just disappears. So, in the state of focus, when we know what it is that we're doing, it's like here's an easy example. Let's say that my objective is to clear from here to the other side of the field. If that's my goal and that's what I'm doing, in that process, it takes everything to achieve that. And so, what do I mean? If I'm gonna go achieve this goal of making it to the other side of the field, first thing is I have to get up. That requires me to know how to move each of my muscles individually, which pieces are where. I have to know my body, know what kind of pain. I have to know myself, my own internal, before I can act and actually do anything and move. Cool. Now, once I start moving, I have to be concerned with balance. I have to be concerned with my step, with whether or not I'm walking in the right spot, if something is going to hit me, whether I'm stepping on a snake or anything like that. All of these different cues. I have to be able to process light as it's coming in. Even the snake situation, I have to know what the snake is capable of if I were to interact with it in different ways to know whether I should avoid it, whether I should not, whether you go for it, whether you step back. All of these different things are involved and they are choices that we make while we're engaging in this original chosen activity. And so the reason that focus is so critical and important is that if we're not focused and we don't know exactly what it is that we're doing, this like one area of focus becomes a spectrum. And now instead of being laser pointed and having to deal with everything that comes, that's uh, instead of having to deal with everything that comes from that one specific thing, we're now having to deal with everything that comes from that and everything that comes from every fractal, every individual little like thing in between there because we're getting distracted. And so what does that look like? In this example of walking across the field, if I'm doing that, but at the same time I'm thinking, man, like this morning I didn't have breakfast. I'm a little bit hungry right now. Then you step on the snake because you're distracted. You're actually receiving stimuli and your mind is in a different place than your physical body. And so really it's about connecting your mind, body, and spirit in one and moving from there. And that's how you'll be able to create without having to suffer, honestly. Like that's just that simple. Because otherwise what happens is we're feeling the cost or the opportunity cost of doing anything that we're doing. Because just by being, just by existing, that means that everything else that we could be doing right now is not happening. So like that's why free will and choice is so beautiful, but also so critical. It's like I'm choosing to be here right now. This is my one laser focus. My mind's not on anything else. And if that's allowed to be the case, one, if I'm doing what I want to be doing, I'm fulfilled because I'm completely engaged. I'm not being torn apart. My body's not everywhere. And I'm not resonating with feelings that are contradictory or not in harmony with what I'm doing. So if my objective and my truth is to be doing this right now, if my mind is on something else, that means I'm not fully here, nor am I fully there. I'm going to be feeling the pain of not completely accurately, fully putting myself into doing this correctly, but I'm also going to be doing whatever it is that I'm doing halfway. It's going to be an inefficient and ineffective form and manner of creation. It feels like our energy is everywhere. So I hope that this brings you some value. I definitely know that it does for me. I'll leave you with actually a little helpful piece on how I integrate this into what I'm doing. So if I'm in a state where, let's say, not everything is perfect, but honestly, those are like the two states I'm in. Either everything is completely perfect in harmony, or I notice that something's up. Um, that's just become something that I've trained my sensitivity for because that's what I'm interested in. And so if I feel like I'm in states of disharmony and things are, pulling me every which way, I've got stress, I've got too many things that I have to accomplish that day or whatnot, that is a sign to show me that somewhere in between I've lost my focus and I've gotten distracted. And that could be for a billion different reasons. There's nothing inherently wrong with that too. Maybe we got distracted for some very purposeful reason. I'm a little husky here. These things. Um, but the real beauty of it is that it's all choice. It's what we want. So for me, I find that by having one focus, it clears me up. I feel so much better. I'm able to achieve everything that I want to do, and I can fully engage with it. I don't feel like there's loss. I don't feel like I'm attached to something else that isn't currently happening right now. So, I love you guys. I will see you next week. And as always, be awesome, be beautiful, be yourselves.